Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special edition of Investing with Confidence, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. I am your host, Joshua David, and always we are happy to have you with us today. And I always do have my good friend and my good pal, the mastermind of this whole operation. Today is the Stockmaster, Mr. Al Connickson. Al, how do you like your names first? Then, how are you doing?
How do I like my
Your names.
Hey, whatever you want to call me, Josh. I answer to almost anything.
well, I'll try that a little bit later then, right?
Let's be kind.
Well, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, Josh. I'm really excited about this show because there's a lot going on in this world and in this country.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, which just comes down to a lot of opportunity especially in the stock market. And that's a lot of things we're going to talk about here today on Investing with Confidence is how to take advantage of the stock market as they are going down. We're seeing a little bit of a consolidation here this week in the stock market. You're looking at the S&P 500 especially consolidating around that 4,100 area over the past 4, 5, 6 days now. And we're seeing some good opportunities on a shorter term time frame. And that's more of an income strategy that we'll talk about here probably in the second segment. We're seeing different things with retailers going on. You got Target
Right.
cutting prices, I believe it was. So anytime you see big retailers making changes and just there's turmoil almost with these companies. Sometimes they got to get rid of their inventory. It's something to keep an eye on as these markets move forward. You look at some different stocks. There actually is opportunity. I was scanning for some opportunities earlier and looking at a stock that I do like, my good old wrestling, Al, and the stock WWE.
WWE.
Yeah.
I knew that's what you were going to talk about.
I talk about wrestling once in a while, but you look at this stock, and is it time to buy? Yeah, maybe, maybe not, but it's actually up about 40% on the year. So there are opportunities in the market.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to cover today here is how to find proper entry points in the markets, buying low, really buying low, and selling high, which comes down to supply and demand. Before we do that, Al, we've, as you said, a lot going on in this country, a lot going on in the stock market. What's your insight on some of the opportunities moving forward, and how do you help our listeners make smart investing decisions?
Well, there's kind of twin threats, I guess, that we're facing right now. We got a red hot inflation environment, and then fears over a looming recession. And more people now are talking about the probably the possibility of not being able to avoid a recession.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Target. Walmart, same thing. A lot of these retailers are having issues because they stocked up on the goods that were hot during the pandemic. High cost items, TVs, computers, and things like that. Now, because of this one word, inflation, people are rethinking what they're buying. Their buying habits have changed. They're not buying these high ticket items anymore now. Because they have to go down to what's basic to living.
Yeah.
And I mentioned just the other day, gas. I have a car that does not have a huge gas tank. It's just a mid-sized sedan. $80 to fill it up with gas the other day.
Today was $103, and I do the same as well. I don't have a huge gas tank in my vehicle.
Yeah, well, and that's really a tax on everybody. So we have these issues. We could do a whole show where I would tell people, get a martini, get some antidepressant drugs, because we can make this sound terrible. But the important thing to remember is it doesn't really make any difference. If you have the right education, the right knowledge, the right strategies to use, regardless of what's happening in the economy and in the markets, there are opportunities.
I like you said, grab that martini. Let's do that. Let's grab that martini and have fun here today talking about the stock market.
We don't even need a martini to have fun here, Josh. And you mentioned one thing I think is important. You said, is it time to buy? You were talking about WW. Is it time to buy? Well, here's the important thing is to know when it's time to buy something and when it's time to sell something.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Well, in the classes that Josh is going to be talking about, free classes, by the way, we're going to go over our strategy. It's a core investing strategy, just incidentally called the core strategy.
There you go.
And what it does is helps you to identify when it is time to buy something or sell something. How can we do that? Is it we have a crystal ball or some
I don't
kind
think
of a
anybody has a
magic
crystal
potion
ball.
we have you drink? No, it's just following what the people that know how to move the price of something and actually do move the price of it, it's just following what they're doing. Fortunately for us, on a price chart, they're basically telegraphing to us what they're doing, but you have to know how to read it.
Yeah.
There are patterns that will emerge on a price chart, and basically what you should be able to do after you learn the strategy, after you have some experience using it, you should be able to just look at a pattern and not even have your brain be involved. Just look at a pattern and know that this is a time to buy something or a time to sell something. Nothing is 100%, but you want to put the odds in your favor, that the probabilities are in your favor. Not only probabilities, but also that whatever you're looking at entering or exiting gives you a high profit potential.
I'm glad you brought that up. Is how to read. It's almost like reading a story. And if you think about it, you learn things throughout your life. You learn how to crawl. You learn how to walk. You learn how to ride a bike. You learn how to read. You learn how to do several things in your life. And sometimes it's crazy that sometimes when people get older, when you get 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, you think, why, how can I learn how to do something? Well, you know what? You just have to put your mind to it. Anybody can learn anything if they actually try. And that's what's nice about, when you teach these investing classes locally here. If you're listening to the show, we have local academies near you. We have a way to explain how the markets work and how to read a price chart, which is almost like a story.
It is a story.
Yeah, and how to make investments with low risk, high reward, high probability entry points, which is typically at or near a turn in price.
Mhm.
And that's where supply and demand are out of balance. And you really explain that whole concept as you're talking about in these investing classes. And by the way, as you said, they're free. And we're having a lot of people coming into these investing classes because they want hands-on learning. They want a physical place to go to learn how to trade and invest in the markets. We see people that have been trading sometimes 20, 30 years looking to get a boost. We see a lot of people that are brand new to the markets, maybe just have like 401ks or IRAs and somebody else is managing them. But you know what? They want to take more action and more hands-on with their accounts because they're seeing them go down right now. Well, now is the time to protect those. Come into one of these investing classes. Al teaches these. I teach these here as well locally. So if you're listening to the show, we have local academies near you. So I'm going to give away some tickets to this investing class, and it's going to be a text line in. When you text this number in, you're going to receive 2 tickets for an investing class plus a quick start kit that will actually help you get started right away. So get your phones ready. Text right now. Text the word invest. So text invest to the number 484848. That's invest to 484848 for 2 tickets. Local academies near you. In these classes, we talk about how the markets work and how to make smarter investing decisions. Text invest to 484848. Al, coming up next, I want to continue the discussion about supply and demand, how to make smart investing decisions, and also a kind of a visual of where to buy, where to sell, just so our listeners have a good idea on how that actually works. We'll be right back.